Hey, Scott Russell. I thought it'd be timely to talk about when things really go wrong in your life, when major change comes along, things come along that are outside of the scope of normal for us and our ability to handle. We're looking at the financial system going to be collapsed. I mean, they're just artificially propping it up until their opportune time. So there's going to be major changes in people's lives, major changes in the way we do things. I believe the authorities are trying to control that, but ultimately, as you try to control people's lives, it becomes pandemonium and chaos. So what do you do in your life when something comes along that's a major change, when something comes along that's scary, when something comes along that's uncertain? And, I know that many times change can be seen two ways. As you can get a victim thinking, or you can see it as an opportunity. And for my life, I find, even this week, some major challenges presented themselves with my son, and it's his load to carry. But as I came and been supportive to him, it still affects you as a father, and to watch some of those changes and things that are going on. But I think it's just, again, for me, and just some practical tips. People might say they're pretty obvious, but I think one of the things in times of change is to keep as much of your regular routine as you can. I like to walk, and I go out, take my walks, and it's a time of centering and just, connecting with God in that way. And I think often it's to realize as well that our mind and our head will go crazy when that happens, because emotion gets involved and fear gets involved and all a host of things like that. And so we find that a lot of emotion is there, and become aware in yourself when emotions are hitting and when things are troublesome. And what I do is I don't make any decisions that I don't have to make when I know that I'm in emotional times. And I can understand when I get a little bit irrational, because it might be about one thing in my life that's under challenge or whatever, apples, let's call it. Then all of a sudden the bananas, the peaches, the oranges, everything all of a sudden to your mind starts to become irrational. You start thinking your whole life is falling apart, and there's no way you'll get through this, and everything's bad. And what I've done in my life is I can identify when that starts to happen. And when that starts to happen, I know that, okay, I'm obviously under pressure. And so I wanted to touch on that, because as things start to unfold in this world, there's going to be a lot of changes, people coming and going out of your life, money situations, housing situations, your car, your job. So many things are going to be confrontive in our lives. Take a breath, friend. Take a breath. Get out on the beach. Take a walk. Know that the decision you made leading into these things, or as you knew something was coming, was solid. You were on a path, and you will stay on that path. Whatever you've got going on in your life now, you will pass through it if you keep your eyes on what's right. For me, it's my faith in Jesus. I talk to God. I just allow that peace of God not to be what I do. It's who I am. It's in me. Yes, chaos comes. Yes, times of trouble come. Yes, all sorts of crazy things happen. You take that, you draw aside when you can, and you reset, and you start to move again in the direction that you need to move in. They might be baby steps, but they're steps. Take steps. As long as, you can't steer a parked vehicle. A parked car can't be steered. And it's a lot of effort to try to steer it. You have to start to move. And as you start to move, you're able to steer that car a lot easier into where it goes. And I think, too, it's a good time when you have these things to understand that faith genuinely is a source of strength. As some of these decisions and things that get thrust on us are essential. They have to happen in our lives. The change is imminent. It's coming. It will be happening. And it starts to become a case of I make the change, or I let the change make me. I let it be thrust on me where I have no chance of anything. You know where the weak links are in your life. You know where things are starting to come unstuck. That's that saying, don't bury your head in the sand. He who buries his head in the sand is bound to get burnt in the end. I mean, you put your head in the sand, your bum's going to get burnt. If you can pretend something's normal, you can pretend things are okay, but you'll get burnt. You have to sit there, get the right people around your life, not the ones that are going to tell you what you want to hear, but the ones that genuinely love you and are of the right spirit as you, the same spirit as you. Not someone that just says, well, I don't want you to get hurt, because sometimes we need hurt to get us moving. Sometimes we need pain. Pain is a great motivator. And nothing changes until pain arrives. When pain arrives, we change. When there's no pain, no gain. There's that saying, right? But I think it just is, I've been watching a little bit of the globalist news and agenda coming about, and things have been relatively quiet compared to what they have been. But don't get lured into a false sense of security. Just because things are quiet, it's coming. There's big changes, a big collapse that's coming. Make the changes you need to make now in your private life, in your personal life. The financial systems. By now, if you've got large amounts of cash in the bank, then I would be questioning whether you're plugged in. It's all going to change. People are, well, the cash will be there forever. We've talked this. It's going to be overinflated. They're going to have a parallel system of digital currency, and they'll overinflate away cash. So you can fight for cash, but when you're fighting for something that's leaving your life, you're putting a lot of effort into something that is dead anyway. But when you know there's life and there's peace and there's joy, and you mightn't see that yet, but you know it's up the line there somewhere. You know that as I start taking these steps, I can be in a place of safety and security, and I can be in the right situation. Then when pressure comes, everything will be all right. That's where you need to put your effort. Put your effort into what is right, what is wholesome, what is true for your life, and readjust and adapt to make sure that you don't stay on a path that ultimately is going to shipwreck you and end in destruction. Your warning signs are there. You know things are coming about globally. You know things in your personal lives. We know things are coming about. Make the changes. Take the small steps while you can before you get run over by the big step. And then get those right ones, those right spirited people in the community of what needs to be around life. They're my simple suggestions. They can seem pretty basic, but I think the bottom line is, instead of putting the energy into trying to keep something alive that's dead, put the energy into life. Put the energy into building what is alive and what is moving forward and what is for the future. Because otherwise, we end up giving all our energy to something we know is just taking our energy and is going to kill us anyway. And we end up shipwrecked with no strength, no ability to move on when we need to move on in our lives and in our finances, in our provision, in our everything. Alrighty, so God bless you. Keep going. Keep your head up. Don't let life bury you. Don't let life start to bog you down. And you'll know, another sign you'll know when things are getting a bit much for you. You want to sleep more. You want to eat more. You might turn to a vice that you've struggled with in your life. But get yourself out. Get out. Take your walks. Keep that regular routines of healthy things around your life so you're able to reflect and move forward. The world can wait. My dad was a minister. He used to say, people would spend a lifetime screwing up their lives. He talked about marriages with it. He said, they'll spend years screwing up their marriage, and then they pick up the phone and call him and need him there instantly, saying that, I need you here right now. And he's like, they spent a lifetime messing it up and they think they're going to fix it in a moment. And it's a journey. Take your journey. Take your journey of what you know is right. Hey, I just want to add a little bit to that that video. It's years ago when my marriage fell apart, 5 years ago, and it became a dead corpse. My marriage became a dead corpse, and my wife had made a decision to do what she wanted to do, and I was putting so much effort into trying to revive a dead corpse, and it was taking my heart and soul, consumed every moment of my thinking. I don't know if there was a second in the day I wasn't thinking about how I could revive this and help this and make this happen. And one day that voice that I know to be the voice of God spoke to me. And of course, being a minister, my religious life was very confrontive with a failed marriage. And I heard what I know to be the voice of God saying to me, Scott, why are you putting so much effort in trying to revive a dead corpse. He says it takes two people to bring about that marriage, and the other one wants nothing to do with it. And she'd moved on, and it was like in her heart, she'd moved on, and I couldn't change that. And the more I changed that, the more I caused issue, really. So when God had sort of released me to say, let the dead corpse go. If God revived it, God revived it. But it's not in my hands or my ability to be able to do that. I let it go. And that was a process. I let it go. Today I look back and I thank God, because what it enabled me to do is put effort, my essence, my energy, my life, my spirit into something that was being born. The Bible talks about, the fire comes and consumes everything, and it says, and that which remains is of God. And my life went through a time where everything was consumed. The fire came, it took everything out of my life, and little bits remained. And that's where I built back from there. And the energy then, instead of trying to keep something dead, trying to bring it back to life, it was then saying, that which remains is of God. That was left. I put the energy into, I put the effort into people around my life that were of the right spirit, that wanted to walk with me in that. And it became ultimately a turning where joy came and life came and freedom came. And I look back now and I just thank God that I let go of that which was leaving my life, had left my life, instead of trying to revive a dead corpse. Many of us are trying to breathe life into death and wondering why it's not succeeding. And then we have life, an invitation to life from God, to whatever area that is in our life. Let go. Let go. Yep, it's scary. Yep, it's hard. And walk towards what you know is for your life. And I think with the way our world's going, with the World Economic Forum, and the finances and jobs and houses and cars and relationships and everything that's going on, it's a good time to sit back and say, okay, God, what are you taking out of my life that maybe should not have been where it is? It was good for the time it was there, but now it's not. And embrace life, embrace freedom, embrace the joy of where God's taking you, and use all that energy that you're putting to try to revive something that'll never live. Use all that energy to put it into something that's alive and fresh and for you. And that's, I think, for me, God's word for today is let him breathe into what stays in your life. Because then you're working with God, with the Creator, and it's so much easier and so much good comes. But when you're trying to work in what you want to control, it takes all the life out of you. It takes the very essence out of your soul, and you get exhausted. But when you're flowing with God, like I always keep saying, follow the peace. Where there's peace, follow it. Follow it. Peace will never lead you astray, because it comes from God. Peace comes from God. You're blessed. Your path is blessed. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delights in his way. Though he falls, he won't be cast down, for the Lord upholds him in his hand. Give it to God and keep walking in the right direction. God bless.